Do you really have COVID-19? A healthy man, a healthy woman, you're going into hospital and you don't come out alive. Cherrie, you're an idiot. You should have gone to the hospital. Because I've never heard the masses have good intention for us, ever.
Yeah.
Every time I hear his name, I think, you devil in the flesh.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And they're going to say we've got mental health problems because we don't want to have the vaccine and yada, 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 and it goes on and on and on.
Bless and welcome to the COVID-19 experience, where O.R.T looks primarily, but not exclusively, at the African diaspora's experience of living with the COVID-19 pandemic. Once again, we have the pleasure of speaking with Cherrie in London. Cherrie, wagwan.
Hi, how you doing, Kush?
I am very, very good. And thank you for giving up your time again to talk to us about your experience of COVID-19 and the lockdown that's part of it. And you and I were speaking earlier on around your observation that on social media, at least people are speaking the truth, but at the same time you're of the view that Black people are reticent to come out and share their views, whether their views are problematic or not. They're very private in terms of going out publicly and speaking about how they're experiencing this or anything else generally.
Absolutely. I mean, I do think there's a fear here. Those who are willing to take risks will take risks, and those who are not, we will discuss it behind closed doors.
Mm.
From the discussions I've had with friends and family, obviously, we believe that something's not right. There's, as I said to you before, there's a wealth of information out there in relation to COVID-19, in relation to the Black population, and I believe that they're probably trying to cull our race. At the end of the day, it's in people's best interest to do their research to ascertain if African nations and Caribbean nations collectively are not surpassing the white population.
Oh, you mean in terms of deaths?
No, sorry.
Okay.
In terms of population size.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, because I've never heard of the masses have good intentions for the Black race, ever.
Yeah.
They're saying we have more of a propensity to this condition. Why is that? How is that?
Yeah.
A healthy man, a healthy woman, all of a sudden they're sick and you're going into hospital and you don't come out alive.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really have COVID-19? Or do you have other underlying issues, which they're not saying? They're too quick to say on social media and other media platforms that we have a higher propensity. I don't think they have good intentions. I think they have ill intentions for us. And it's in our best intentions to research that and stay well informed and ensure that if there is a mandatory drug, that it has positive effects.
Well, a vaccine may not be going ahead because Robert Kennedy Jr. has been successful in the American courts in terms of stopping Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci, whichever way you want to pronounce it, in being able to use their vaccine on the public because it hasn't gone through any rigorous testing. And they also question the grounds on which they are saying that a vaccine is needed. So that may not be happening. But as you were speaking though, Cherrie, what came to mind when you were speaking was, it's like, it's stressful enough worrying about your health. But on top of that, to be worrying about whether the system is targeting you, it cannot be good for our mental health, can it?
Obviously not. The other day, I have to give you an example. The other day, as you can probably hear, I have asthma, so my asthma's playing up a little bit. But the other day, about a week and a half ago, my asthma was playing up. And I couldn't kind of bring it under control. And I had to quickly reflect on, do I call an ambulance or do I not? I
Oh
have
my
I
gosh.
have children in my home, and I had to decide that I'm not going to do it. I
Oh
had to
my
pull out one of the old concoctions um, of turmeric, ginger, lime, and a little bit of rum, and hope, and some Scotch bonnet, and hope for the best. Do you understand me? Because I said I'm not going to hospital.
Because you are fearful
No,
of what may happen to you.
because I have fearful of what could happen to me if I go to hospital. Probably, people will say, "Cherrie, you're an idiot. You should have gone to the hospital." I, I weren't going, and maybe, the amount of information out there has got me somewhat paranoid. But I said to myself, I'm going to prefer to stay in my house and suffer. And people will say you're selfish. You got a child. Yes, I was being selfish. But what I use and utilize and have utilized in the past, it works for me.
You know
So
something? I'm just picturing myself at that moment when you're having to make this decision, possibly a life-changing decision of whether to go into the hospital or not. And I can't judge you because it's a terrifying proposition and position to be in.
most
Absolutely
definitely.
terrifying, knowing that so much hype has been put about in terms of saying that this virus attacks people who are predisposed, and one of the groups is
Mm-hmm,
people with asthma.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know joke.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? As I said to you before, there's a lot of information on social media and other platforms around this disease, and how it impacts on people's health, and it could be a life or death situation,
Mm-hmm.
and how they're appropriately recording it. But for me, somewhere in there lies the truth. And for my people, I would say err on the side of caution and be informed and stay informed, because I've never heard the masses have good intention for us ever.
Yeah.
1,000 years down the line, never. Bill Gates. Every time I hear his name, I think, you devil in the flesh. Do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wants to go into Africa and he wants to save Africa. He wants to go into the Caribbean and he wants to save the Caribbean. No, you have ill
Yeah,
intentions for
man.
us.
Yeah.
We were sold down the river hundreds and hundreds of years ago by our own. But you know what? Africa best wake up, the Caribbean was best wake up. Because for this vaccine could sterilize us. It could
Yeah.
be, and it could also bring about a slow death. And that could be my paranoia, but let me be paranoid.
No, yeah, I mean, you're calling it paranoia, but one of the things that has struck me is why do so many people who seem to want to tinker with nature and tinker with social orders seem to end up with all the money to live out their dreams? Because there are so many things. For instance, in America, the highest group to experience deaths in America is white middle-aged men. 45,000 white middle-aged men kill themselves each year.
Mm-hmm.
Why them don't fix that? Why them don't
But
fix
that's
that first? Before them go someplace, go to another country and try and tinker and fix things, which probably they have little knowledge about, and they're still going to bring their cultural perspective, because it's not like they're just entrusting people with their money to say, listen, go and do what you have to do. You're from up there, you can possibly do a very good job, much a better job than I could do. They want to be really involved in these things. And somebody made the point this week on social media that Bill Gates is not a doctor. He's not a doctor, so why does he feel that he has to be so involved in these things? So I don't think you're paranoid. I think you're pointing to something that a lot of us sense. And if I could just give you an example of how complex this thing is, I was reading a book by Noam Stamper about how to fix America's police. And in there, he describes the culture in the police force in America, and I guess in all police force, of trying to basically fix the figures to suit them. And that we shouldn't be looking at lone officers as acting independently, but we must see them as part of a culture in which their attitude is being groomed. And if that is the police force, and this is a police officer talking about the police, then why shouldn't a layperson or the general public be suspicious about the way that some things are happening and whose hands are steering the vehicle in which we're all traveling?
I think what we have to understand is, and that, you know, I've reflected on racism and discrimination for a number of years. I've seen it all my life. I know what it is when it's standing in front of me. You have to remember that individuals are nurtured by their family, by their parents, and they're groomed in a way to be racist. Do you understand me? So in relation to those in the police force, they will have the mindset that black is negative because they've been raised as such, unless they've had a positive experience to change that mindset. Likewise, the black community. If you've experienced racism at a certain age, you will know what it is when it's standing in front of you. Do you know what I mean? You get a vibe. It's instinctive to you. You know that, no, that's not good. That is not positive. That is not right. And you walk away and you're trying to, I suppose when you're in a certain field, you'll try and, you know, make sense of it. And some people will try and downplay it. Yeah. But sometimes you have to call it for what it is. Let's not play fool here. You have to call it for what it is. So you have to understand that at the end of the day, you know, COVID-19, the coronavirus, you know, they were too quick to say black people have a high propensity to you know, contract this condition. Why is that? And then it was circulated throughout social media.
Initially, they said we couldn't get it.
Huh?
Initially, it was said mainstream.
Because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And we couldn't get it. It was the elderly that could get it. Then you started to see, you know, the age group drop. You know, from the elderly, you saw people in their 40s, people in their 30s. You saw people in their 20s and 18. Then you saw a 12-year-old, not 12-year-old, a 12-day-old baby contracted it. And obviously, the mother must have it as also. Do you know what I mean?
So tell me
and now we have a high propensity. Believe me.
So tell me something.
Stay informed.
Have people, from what you've seen, have people become apathetic now? Have they become overly relaxed about the threat of it?
I don't know if they've become relaxed, you know, because what I've seen from social media and what people have shared with me and what I've shared with them is information surrounding that. You know what? We need to stay informed about this condition, this virus. We need to read up on this condition. We need to know what legislations they're putting in place. Do you see what I mean? Because if it becomes mandatory, that means we have no choice.
Yeah.
Do you see what? However, what is the impact of undertaking this vaccine? Yeah. And I had to really reflect when I was about 11 years old. And we all had to go and get this BCG for tuberculosis. You know, I'm sure it's tuberculosis. And does the same apply for COVID-19? Is this how is this going to impact on us? They already know a lot about us. Do you know what I mean? You know, our walk of life. You tap in the computer. There's your name. There's your ethnicity. Do you know what I mean? Are we getting the same vaccine as the masses? We don't know. Can we question it? If you question it...
You're listening to O.R.T's COVID-19 experience that looks primarily, but not exclusively, at the African diaspora's experience of living with COVID-19.
They already know a lot about us. Do you know what I mean? You know, our walk of life. You tap in the computer. There's your name. There's your ethnicity. Do you know what I mean? Are we getting the same vaccine as the masses? We don't know. Can we question it? If you question it, they're going to say we've got mental health problems because we don't want to have the vaccine and yada, 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 and it goes on and on and on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But there is a lot of unrest about it, you know. I mean, generally
you just
speaking,
have to.
even outside of the black diaspora, there's a lot of unrest and suspicion about any vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
What that will mean ultimately in terms of turning things around and being able to challenge any wish to use the vaccine, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
No, nobody knows this. It's those in the upper echelons of power that are going to dictate how we move forward in relation to this vaccine. You can't produce a vaccine in a year. Although I've seen a lot of information to say there's a vaccine already exists, and you know there is an agenda here, and it's to cull the population because you know there's going to end up being food shortages if they don't, and this, that, and the other. But you know what? It's a case of, as I said to you before, read, stay informed, be weary. And I'll give you another example. About 2 weeks ago, I got a text to say if I wanted the pneumonia vaccine because, and I had to laugh. I said these jankos, but anyway, if I wanted the pneumonia vaccine because there's a possibility it could protect me against COVID-19. Now, all this time, the pneumonia vaccine was to protect you against pneumonia. All of a sudden, it now can possibly protect you against COVID-19. They've now changed their strategy.
Yeah.
I said, these people do not have good intentions for anybody. Nobody whatsoever, especially our people.
Yeah. So, you know, in terms of your movements around, what's different now in terms of since the last time we spoke?
What's changed?
Yeah.
Well, I've adapted to my environment. I've adapted. You have to adapt, don't you? You realize as a human being, you adapt to your situation. I think a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of climbing a wall. I thought I was going to kill someone. But I had to, you know what I had to do? I had to start going back to train. So go and do my boxing, push my weights in my house. To for my own mental health and well-being.
Yeah.
And I've been fine since then.
Oh, that's good.
In terms of, and I feel good. I said, you know, I can cope with this. And I can understand how a prisoner feels in prison and only getting 1 hour a day to exercise or to be out in the courtyard.
Yeah.
Do you understand me?
Yes.
The only thing I don't have alongside my fellow man at this current moment in time is a well, I can't say my fellow man. Is it the thing I don't have in line with a prisoner is a conviction. You know, I'm adapting to my environment. You know, I'm remote working. You know, I can get all the food I need to keep my family going, to keep us all going. I'm going for my daily walks.
Maybe you do have a conviction. Maybe you do have a conviction of LWB, living while black.
You say walking while black.
Living while black. Going by what you said earlier on, you know, when you were saying, you know, that some people are always trying to mess with the African diaspora. But in that sense, it is like a conviction, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they are. They are. I mean, as I said to you before, you know, I may digress a bit, but at the end of the day, you know, we're a high propensity of a lot of things. You know, racism, discrimination, criminality, mental health. So you know, just add COVID-19 to the list. do you see what I mean? It doesn't mean you can't live. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you can't enjoy your life. It just means stay informed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, for real. For real.
Just, yeah. But I'm adapting to the current environment.
How is your community when you go out the road? How is your community?
You know, it's still very quiet. I think I went out the other day to the local shops. There was a bit more, it's somewhat more busy in terms of people out there. I haven't visited any parks, but I saw groups. What did I see? I was driving and I saw a family, and there was about 5 of them walking all together. And I said, yes. You know, from Boris said what he said and caused a lot of confusion, that buffoon. People are saying, you know what, COVID's over. We can do what we want, you know?
You mean when he relaxed it last
Relaxed
Sunday?
it, yeah, you know, cause more confusion than confusion. But I'm erring on the side of caution, nonetheless.
Don't you think people were at that stage where they felt actually they were getting a bit fed up?
Of course people are getting fed up. Of course people are getting fed up. I'll get fed up.
Maybe he was just acknowledging that people are a little bit fed up, so let's just give them a bone. Let's give them a little bit of leeway.
You know what? It's better you don't give them leeway because you want to save lives here. You know, the last time I looked, what was the death rate? Over 31,000, I think I saw.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No, don't give them no leeway.
The government are faced with the fact that people will become restless, and unless they're going to come in with some emergency powers to significantly restrict people's movements and make them prisoners virtually, then he has to kind of work with their minds and where they are and their willingness to cooperate at any given time. He has to work with that, or the government has to work with that.
You know,
and the reason why I said that, you know, just to underscore the point, the reason why I said that is, I think people have become relaxed on a different level. I know what you're saying, that black people are worried about vaccines and whether it's going to be good or bad for them. But generally, I think people are becoming accustomed to going out with masks, gloves, joining a line to go into a supermarket. You know, I saw something in the newspaper to say that the underground is like playing Russian roulette because the people are so in such close proximity to each other. But on the trains and the buses, there seem to be a lot of space.
Oh
so
no,
people have become used to it on some level.
I saw a video today whereby the bus was ram-packed with people, and they all came off, and nobody had on a mask. And this was a London bus. Nobody had on a mask, and I said, you know what? People are getting restless, and when people get restless, that creates anarchy. As I said to you, in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, it's getting warmer. People are not going to want to stay in their house and sit in their garden if you have one. They are going to want to go to the park and sit in this park and catch some rays. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean? Some sunshine. They're not going to want to sit in their house, COVID-19 or not. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? As I said to you, I went shopping 2 days ago, and out of those 7 or 8 people I saw in that shop, and it was only a corner shop, only one person was wearing a mask.
Listen, man, yesterday I'm going to one shop, an Indian man shop, and I asked the man for something. 3 of them stand up in there, and one of them say they don't have it, and the other 2 didn't really know them. Asked me to go around the back, so I walk over to the back. When I turn around, 2 of the men that stand up right side, I mean, they're not obeying no social distancing. You know? They're like away from me. So I'm saying to myself, though, certain people are taking this thing serious.
No, they're not.
As much as they was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
No. Yeah, people are tired. They're tired. The elderly are doing what they need to do. The younger generation walking freely. Yeah. Freely, no mask, no. They're saying, you know, young people think they're invincible already.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But there's older people in their, what I saw, 40s, in their 40s, they had nothing on their face also.
Cherrie, you never thought like that when you were a teenager.
Hmm?
You never thought you was invincible when you were a teenager.
I did think I was invincible. I did. I did think I was invincible. I said, no, nothing can't touch me, nothing can't happen to me. You know, yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, so I could do what I want, nothing would happen. Do you know what I mean? So I can kind of relate in that respect. Do you know what I mean? You talk to them, it'll go in one ear, it will sit there for a little while and then go right out the other ear.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? You just have to continuously talk to them and say, you know what, err on the side of caution, do X, Y, and Z to keep yourself safe. Like the rest of the community. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So how's your spirit? How are you looking at yourself spiritually?
Spiritually, you know, I have to say to you that I contact my family most days to ensure that they're well. I have to say I pray. I don't think I've prayed so much since COVID-19. I do pray, but you know, when you're more stressed and situations are hard or difficult, you pray a lot more, unless you are of a certain religion. So I know I pray a lot more. I reflect a lot more on my mortality, and think to myself, you know, you probably need to get your house in order. Although I'm not of that age, but need to still,
you
know, get my house in order.
Yeah. Straighten up your crooked ways.
Sorry?
Straighten up your crooked ways.
Yeah, man, for sure. You know, just get your house in order. Know that, you know, you're immortal. I'm sorry.
You mean you're mortal?
You're mortal. Sorry. Yeah, you're mortal. Yeah. So I've had time to reflect. This whole 7-8 weeks we've been in lockdown, you have to reflect. There's no way you cannot not reflect on your life, on your existence, where you're heading, where you need to be going, what you're going to do when lockdown's over. You know, what your career, what your aspirations. You know,
how you get out of that?
You know, all the things you maybe wanted to do and couldn't do. Are you going to do now? You know what I mean? So.
When you get out of that period of reflection, what you got so far?
Sorry, say that again?
What have you got out of that period of reflection?
On that period of reflection, I am going to do me. In relation to, you know, I do a lot for other people. Now I'm going to do me.
Okay.
That, you know, maybe silly to some people. You know, I used to learn Spanish when I was at school, and because used to be a little bad girl, but you know, I used to learn Spanish and I never completed it. And I said, I'm going to go back and learn Spanish. And I said, you know what, there's other things I wanted to do in terms of, you know, culinary skills, like, you know, maybe learn to bake. And I said, you know, I'm going to do it. I've been putting this off for nearly 10 years. I'm going to go and do it, you know, finally.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? You know, where there's health and there's strength and there's life, I'm going to go and do it.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what I mean? You know, so yeah, that's my reflection.
Make I ask you something else now. What does all of this COVID-19 and period of reflection and mortality mean to you as a Black woman?
It means that basically you can go at any time. That make sure when you leave your mark, you leave a positive mark. Make sure that you care for your loved ones. You know, you love your loved ones and you forgive, because tomorrow's never promised.
Yeah, for real.
Tomorrow's never promised to any of us. Do you know what I mean? You could go to sleep tonight and not wake up tomorrow. In terms of being a Black woman, you know, I realised that I love my people. They've got some Cherrie about them, but I love my people. I want the best for them. Do you understand? And I want our outcomes to always be a positive one.
Yeah, man.
Always be a positive one.
Yeah.
And for us to all to stay spiritual and stay aware.
And what's one of the funniest things that you've seen or heard or that's happened to you since we last spoke?
Oh God, I can't even think. The funniest thing.
I get sent something the other day on WhatsApp with one old man from our country, and it's video say Boris is telling people to ride bicycles. So this brother on this bicycle, he get on the bicycle, he starts cycle, he rides straight into the bush and crash. Then he managed to come out of the gully and he get back on the bicycle and straighten himself and he ride straight into the next bush and crash.
You know what?
Film him all this time, Somebody have filmed him. To come show it by WhatsApp. What I tell you.
Oh God, I can't even think. I've had quite a few through,
Yeah.
but I've seen some. Like I've seen, by the time COVID-19's over, do you know what I mean? Those who are MAGA are going to be fat, so we ain't going to be able to go through the door, or just. I can't even think right now, but just silly little things to keep you laughing, keep you going, because we take bad team make joke, but that's how we get through these serious situations,
Yeah, man. Cherrie, it's been great speaking with you.
You are welcome.
Yeah, man. Look forward to talking to you again, man.
All right, no problem.
Safe and walk good.
You too. Take care.
Yeah, man. All the best.
All right, bye-bye.
Included below are related links to this discussion. Please share, comment, and subscribe. And remember, talk the thing.